I'm starting to do cleanup, in particular the valves and the piston heads to get that carbon off. I just went to my local auto parts and found a treatment that is specifically listed for carbon deposits. Put it in a bowl. It's a little dirty because I've already cleaned one of my pistons with it. This is kind of where I'm starting. And what I did on the first one that worked really well is just go ahead and soak it. I'll drop it in there. I'll let it soak in there for an hour or so, and then just start hitting it with brushes. And I've got a couple different ones I've been using. A real soft nylon toothbrush even, onto the brass, a little stiffer, and then last a stainless. And I've already found that this works well. Also, definitely avoid scraping the top of the piston or anything else with another hard surface like a dental instrument or a razor. Just don't do it. If you have to do that, then you're rushing the job or you don't have the right chemical to loosen up that carbon. Stick with the brushes. Even the stainless brush like this works really well and will not, if you use it gently and just agitate the surface, will not mar or scrape or leave any dings on your piston head. So just stick with these. Anyway, I'm going to let that soak for a bit. Meanwhile, I'm setting up to get a poor man's part washer going here. Hit Home Depot, got 3 gallons of odorless mineral spirits and a little bin. I'm just going to pour everything in there, and I'll wash my crankcases and all the other parts. I want to get as much of the oil and dirt and everything as I can out of everything. I'm even going to be cleaning up my rolling chassis, going through it, cleaning things up now that I have access to everything, and try to just get it as clean and as nice as possible before I begin reassembly. I'm also going to need to order a bunch of parts. That'll take a few days to get in. That's a perfect time for me to be doing cleanup. So I'll be back here in a bit with a piston ready to start scrubbing. Alright, I let this piston soak in this B12 chem tool treatment, and I mean, I can already see a big difference just from where it was initially. I'm going to start with one of the softest brushes, the nylon, and I'm just going to start doing my thing on it. And definitely want to wear rubber gloves. I'm going to be going slow, taking my time, and going to be in this chemical mix for a while. The first batch will come off real easy, and then from there it starts getting progressively harder to get the rest of the deposits off. And again, do not get the urge to start scraping this with a razor blade or a dental instrument. Just keep working it with brushes, even if you have to go up to the stainless. Agitate it, loosen it up, and then just let it soak some more. And keep repeating that process. And already, I mean, it's a huge difference. So I think I'll let it sit here for another half hour or so. Come back on it with the brush. I've let this piston soak a little bit more. The next thing I'll show is if you have deposits that are particularly stubborn and don't want to come off with the brush, the next best thing to do is scrape it, but scrape it with something soft. In this case, I can use the edge of my nylon brush as plastic. And I can get that plastic and I can just kind of scrape away with that. That will not mar the head of the piston at all, and it does a pretty good job of knocking off the extra hard carbon deposits. Rinse it, scrub it some more, and keep that process going. These big chunks tend to come off together if you scrape them. And then it makes it easier to get the underneath deposit off. So all of that so far is done with just soaking and with a nylon brush. And again, this is a piston with 60,000 R1 miles on it. So this is some crusty stuff. Keep on doing that until you've got the whole piston clean. This piston head had a couple of really stubborn carbon deposits. I just let it soak longer, pulled it back out, hit it with a brush, and those last few spots came out. At this point, I'm going to put a light polish on the top of the piston. I'm going to stay away from the sides. I'm going to clean the rest of the piston, but I'm not going to polish anything else. And for that, I'm just going to use a little bit of Master Formula metal gloss. I'm sure any metal polishing compound will work just fine. This stuff is really good. Use it pretty sparingly, about that much. Let's put a little bit of effort into it, about medium pressure. Just hit it all the way around. I'm going to use a Dremel, a little cotton tip on the Dremel, but only on the outside edge. It's just a little easier to get the outside edge that way. And I don't know, probably about a half an hour of working this should give me something like that. That's the first piston I did. Again, not a super high polish. All right, just enough to clean it up and brighten up a little bit. Again, sides, haven't touched them. I've just cleaned the piston out. And there you go. Do that 4 times and on to the next step.